This video is brought to you by Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist, my new book, which is a comprehensive guide to all aspects of music theory necessary for playing rock guitar. From blues to the cycle of fifths, from understanding and using modes to choosing the right notes for a melodic solo, from pentatonic scales to chord construction and keys. It's all covered in a clear and concise manner. With accompanying video demonstrations, jam tracks and tabs, you'll learn to use the knowledge you gain in accessible ways that make sense for less than the cost of a few guitar lessons. Check out the link in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. That little piece of music there began, as you could see, primarily focusing on acoustic guitar, and within the space of about a minute and a half, it had kind of evolved into something much more raucous and electric guitar orientated. And that's relevant to today's question because today is Wednesday, and as you know by now, on Wednesdays I deal with viewers' questions. So if you have a question that you think I'm the right sort of chap to answer, then get in touch. You can see the website address there at the top of the screen. And go and check out my new revamped website, by the way. But anyway, there's an email form there. Get in touch, send me a message. You can use my email address, jrguitartuition@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment below this or any of my other videos, which is exactly what a chap called Scally1969 did. And here is his question.
Great video as always, John. I wonder if I could put forward a suggestion for your viewer's question slot. How does a beginner move from an acoustic to an electric? They're very different animals and require different skills and maybe mindset. Would you give us your views, please? Many thanks.
So, making the transition from acoustic guitar to electric guitar. I would first of all say that that is the easier transition than going the other way around. Usually, if you've started off on electric guitar, as many beginners seem to do these days, and then go to an acoustic, suddenly you've got this big bulky thing that you've got to kind of, that you've got to navigate your way around, and, because the thickness of the body and everything is just that much further that way, kind of looking and seeing what you're doing can be something of an issue. But nevertheless, there is an adjustment in either direction, whether you're going from acoustic to electric or electric to acoustic, and it's the acoustic to electric side of things we're looking at today. Adjustments that you might need to make. I would guess probably the first thing is that on an electric guitar, because electric guitars tend usually to use lighter gauge strings, you will notice that there is a lot less string tension, and that makes the guitar easier to play. Now, this can be a problem, believe it or not, because if you've got used to exerting a certain amount of pressure and force on the strings to fret a chord or play a note or whatever, and then you apply that same amount of effort into pressing down the strings on an electric guitar, it's not unknown for for people who are making that transition to end up bending the string out of tune. I see a lot of people when they're playing an acoustic guitar, or if used to playing an acoustic guitar, who go to an electric. Let me just move the camera down a little bit. Who, let's say they're playing a G chord, they will often do that, and wonder why the chord sounds out of tune. Well, it's because all of that force that you had to exert to press the tighter strings down on an acoustic guitar has to go somewhere, and usually or often it can do that, and you bend the chord out of tune. So that's one to watch out for, the increase in string tension, which can affect the tuning and intonation of the chords that you're playing. Another adjustment that you have to make, which this one is more to do with getting your timing right, is that on an acoustic guitar you play here and the sound is here. But on an electric guitar you play here and the sound happens over there, wherever the amplifier is. Or in my case, when I first started, the Amstrad Music Centre that I was plugging into the mic socket of. And because there's that lag between you playing and just that infinitesimally short period of time with the sound coming out the speaker, that can sometimes cause issues with timing. I noticed this the first time I ever used a wireless system. It was in a big venue, and you're doing that thing where you feel kind of unconstrained by having a cable coming out of your guitar. And I noticed that I didn't have to go very far back away from the stage. This was at the sound check to notice that there was quite a noticeable lag between me playing and the sound coming out. So that's something to watch out for. It's not a big problem, but it has been something that many of my students who've made the transition from acoustic to electric have reported, so that's one to watch out for. Another thing to take into account is the different roles that an electric and an acoustic guitar fulfill. An acoustic guitar, the tonal signature, shall we say, of an acoustic guitar is such that you can stay down the bottom end of the neck and do a kind of down, up, down, up, down, up kind of strummy kind of thing on cowboy chords, and that will usually fit into any mix pretty well. An electric guitar is less like that. Because I think it's something to do with the fact that an electric guitar has more mid-range frequencies going on, and if you kind of clutter the sound up like that, then you're going to be kind of getting in the way of other instruments. So you do need to back off and play maybe higher, in a higher register, playing bar chords further up the neck, for example, and, just playing less. I think Freddie Green, who was the guitar player in the Count Basie Orchestra, a quote from him was that, you shouldn't really notice the rhythm guitar. It should sound like the snare drum is playing a B flat or something like that. So, just kind of landing on the 2 and the 4. And then, maybe expanding out a little bit from that, but certainly there are less and less occasions where just a kind of cowboy chords, kind of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a strummy kind of thing is going to work in a band situation with an electric guitar. Another thing to think about is the different range of sounds that an electric guitar can give you. Just on a basic level, you've got sort of clean sounds, edge of breakup sounds, and full-on crunchy distorted or high gain sounds. And how you play with those different sounds, well, you need to play differently. Muting becomes an important part of what you're doing. I'm not talking about just, palm muting with this part of your hand down here, although that is important. I'm talking about when you're actually playing power chords, for example, on the neck of the guitar. I'm playing on 2 strings there, but I'm muting the strings underneath. And if you're not in the habit of doing that, then those strings that aren't being muted, if you're playing with a higher gain sound, will resonate and kind of create all sorts of unpleasant overtones that will just become uncontrollable if you are not careful. So, watch out for the kind of difference in string tension. Make sure you don't bend things out of tune. Watch out for that sort of slightly, for some people, disorientating thing of, you playing here, but the sound happening over there because that's where the amplifier is. That can, as I say, affect your timing. Back off a little bit and play less and play in higher registers so that you're not cluttering up the overall mix and getting in the way of the kind of cymbals on the, sonically getting in the way of the cymbals on the drum kit, or, kind of obscuring what the bass line is doing or anything like that. You need to just rein it back a little bit and, try and make sure that your muting technique is, or that you develop a muting technique that can make sure you don't get unwanted overtones coming from strings that are resonating that you wouldn't necessarily otherwise have noticed. And the other thing I would say is, to that end, don't habitually practice electric guitar without being plugged in, because all of those things that you need to mute, you won't notice them if you're not plugged in, and you won't develop the techniques. And then when you plug in, it'll just sound quite often like a cacophony of racket because you haven't got all these uncontrolled strings under control. Anyway, what else do I need to say? Yes, that little piece of music at the top of the video, there is, as always, a full tab for that in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it, and the jam track I was playing along with all of that is, as usual, up on my Patreon page. There's the address, and the link is in the description. $3 or about £3 a month gets you access to all of these additional goodies that go along with these YouTube videos, and obviously a massive, massive thank you to everybody who supports me in that, or any of the other ways, all of which are downstairs in the description. And that's pretty much it for today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If it seemed a little bit disjointed, it's because I've had to edit out a couple of coughing fits that I collapsed into going through the video, but they're on the cutting room floor. Maybe they'll make it onto a blooper reel one day. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you haven't already done so, and drop me a like while you're at it. And don't forget, as always, the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time, where we drink beer and talk about music and guitars and whatever else crops up, basically. It's a cracking way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.